Welcome to Dawn Dishes and Wines. So this is my journey. As I turned 52, I thought of 52 things that I wanted to say. Y'all know there's 52 weeks in a year, so that's what this podcast is about. My lived experiences that I just want to share and help people grow. And I want to do it around some of my favorite things, great food and great wine.
So we're here today at my favorite restaurant, one of my favorites. It's Flipside Cafe, and I have had everything on the menu, but we'll be talking about a special dish today as we dish and we wine. So I'm here with John Ford. He's the owner and chef. Hey, John.
How are you doing?
Wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Awesome. Well, you see we have a delicious meal here. John, can you tell us about this meal?
The first thing is our beet salad. It's a hazelnut crusted goat cheese, some fresh strawberries, citrus, roasted local beets, a little beet puree with fresh arugula. And then we also have our naked chicken dish. The naked chicken, naked because it's antibiotic free, hormone free, organic. It comes on top of a farro risotto, a little roasted spinach, and a lemon butter sauce.
Wonderful, this is good. While I take a bite, John, can you tell us a little bit about Flipside, your other restaurants, and just a little bit about what inspired you to be a chef and be a restaurant owner?
Absolutely. So my wife Amy and I own the Flipside Restaurant Group, which also has a catering company, Sal Mary's Italian Kitchen in Fort Mill, the Flipside Cafe in Fort Mill, and the Flipside Restaurant in Rock Hill. We started about 8 years ago. With our cafe in Fort Mill and this restaurant in Rock Hill will be 7 years old in April. We wanted to bring something different today. I was a corporate chef for years, doing local food, and there was a need for it here. And so we opened up the Flipside with that need, but we also wanted to bring it a little bit more approachable than what big city restaurants are doing. So we sought out rent spaces that were a little bit less expensive so that we could then pass that savings on to our guests so that we weren't charging $36 or $38 for a scallop dish. We're more in the 26. And that makes us not the cheapest around. But again, we talked about the chicken ingredients and some of the local ingredients we use. That's what makes us different. So we're really trying to make it more of a local, support the local economy. But also you can see the food is plentiful. It's not the little bougie place that you see sometimes uptown.
Well, the food is delicious. The grilled chicken, it tastes like it came straight off a grill out of my backyard. The risotto, like I said, you won't need to leave here and go anywhere else. You'll be full. I always take food home. Sauteed spinach, divine. I just love everything about it. This is one of my favorite salads, the beet salad. You'll get all of your vitamins and nutrients. If you look at how colorful it is, you know that you're getting just really good food that tastes well. I love having a story that goes behind, the chef who creates the food because it just makes it even yummier. So thank you so much for bringing Flipside to our community. Rock Hill is a big, small town, and we're just excited to have a restaurant of this quality in our community. So come on out. I'm enjoying a white wine with my meal, and it is absolutely a great way to send it off. So tune in for our show, which will follow, and have a great meal at Flipside one.
So we're going to start first by we had a great dish and we had a great wine. And I want to ask everyone, what's in your glass? So I am right now enjoying a local wine from a winery here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And it's called the Winery. And it's right here in Rock Hill. And you can go to catspaw.com to find out more about the winery. But it's a great Cabernet Sauvignon that I'll be doing today. Teryn is not of drinking age, but you're going to tell us what's in your wine glass, Teryn?
Well, she's sparkling white grape juice.
So that's how she'll be partaking today. Tadean, what's in your wine glass?
I'm actually drinking the same thing. So from Cat's Paw Winery, a nice cab. Never had this one before and decided that it's local, so I'm excited to try it.
Okay. Nijera and Nia, tell us what's in your wine glass.
Okay, I don't want to butcher the name. It's a Moscato 2019.
Bartenura.
Fatanura. Supposed to be a product of Italy. That's what we got.
My young wine drinker is just embarking on this journey. So, audience, as you watch, I'd like you to add what's in your wine glass. So we'd love for you to share your favorite wine and tell us what you love about it. So as we continue, I'd like to go ahead and give my guests an opportunity to tell us a little bit about themselves as we embark upon, first of all, our hot topic today. So our topic that we will be talking about later on in the show is just about multiple streams of income, right? It's a new way of making money and establishing a career path. And but we're going to talk about our hot topic around making money. Let's talk a little bit about Kylie Jenner. A lot of you know that she's been in the news, and I'm just going to read a little bit about what people are saying about her. Technically, she's the youngest Kardashian / Jenner, and she has built an entire empire from the ground up and is now considered the youngest billionaire ever. She's running one of the most well-known makeup brands, definitely comes with its perks, and she's rolling in the money from these lip kits that she's had the opportunity to, I think it sold out when she put it out, maybe in 10 minutes or something like that. Have you all heard about this story?
Yeah, I've heard about it before. And I have personally never tried the lip kits, but if we're going off of what I've heard the quality isn't that great. So that tells me one thing. That tells me that that her ability to sell out that fast has more to do with who she is. It has more to do with her image. It has more to do with her fan base than the quality of the product. So in terms of her becoming in terms of her being a self-made billionaire, that's like, you have to put air quotes around it, because it's like she made the business, but she had a lot of help. So I don't know if self-made is really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Nia, while we're talking with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi. My name is Nia. I am 25 right now, and I graduated college with a bachelor's. I want to say a master's. I ain't got no master's. With a bachelor's in English creative writing. Right now, I'm working in a Princi kitchen as an assembler. And my multiple streams of income has been, I've worked over hire at the public theater. I've worked online transcription work, and then my 9 to 5 job. So those are like the streams of income that I had going on at the same time.
Okay, awesome. Good to hear from you. Nijera, tell us a little about yourself and tell us what you think about the Kylie Jenner story.
Pretty much what Nia has already said, that I've heard about her. I haven't tried her lip kit products. From what I heard, it wasn't too much of my complexion friendly. And that's all of what I heard. I'm not completely sure. And yeah, like her sisters, mostly Kim, is reason why she has her fame right now. Well, she started with her fame and she took it on and moved on with it, but it really started with her sister Kim. So she's had a lot of help, and you could say she also had a blueprint on how to become successful and how to market herself. So billionaire has the air quotes. So yeah.
No, self-made has the
self-made, not billionaire.
She has the billion.
Self-made has the air quotes, because she definitely had a lot of help. Like I said, my name is Nijera. I graduated with my associates in digital media and film production. I am right now working with a company called Class Act. We take student portraits, and that is my income.
Okay. All right, Tadean, what about you?
Yeah, so I agree with everything that they've already said. I think what's more important for me to mention though is like the fact that it's crazy that she did sell out in 10 minutes, right? Like I'm more fascinated by that fact rather than how it actually worked or not. You know what I mean? I'm like, the fact that you can sell something as simple as lip kits, make millions of dollars in 10 minutes blows my mind. But I think it's exactly what I think it was Nia who said that it's being built on her sister coming before her, all of this already being in place. So the self-made part is a little self-glorifying, and that's a little weird flex to me, but the money is still there, which still interests me a lot. So the fact that you can make that happen just proves exactly what they said. The fact that you can build off what you already know, what you already use, social media, the power of social media to build something that can make this much money for you, I think is really cool and exciting. So that's what interests me. That's what excites me about it, and I think it's super cool. But I don't know how to attach self-made to that. I think we glorify that term to make it feel like we made it out the mud or something. It's a weird flex that we like to have. So if she didn't get too much into that piece of trying to say that, I think the story would be so much more beautiful.
Here it is. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Tadean.
Yeah. So 25 as well. I here in South Carolina, so born and raised here. I only have most things as well from my 9 to 5. Primarily, I work in government. My 5 to 9, I own several businesses. So primarily, I have a Send Solutions, which is where we do community engagement strategy, working on business profits to help them create change in the world. Anything that they try to do to make the world better, we try to be a part of that and manage that project for them. So like we're doing events in the community, initiatives, different things like that. We take on and manage those projects. Outside of that, I have a cleaning company as well. And then I dabble my hand in anything else that sounds interesting, and also have a bag attached to it as well.
Yep.
You put the M in multiple streams. We'll ask Teryn her perspective. She's our youngest of the crew. And I, as a mom, see her as being multi-talented and multifaceted. She's been dibbling and dabbling for a very long time in her 17 years of life. But Teryn, tell us a little bit about how you would describe yourself and what you think about the whole story.
She used her platform. She knew that her name was big. She knew she didn't need to make a quality product. That it took her name and her to say she's dropping something, and people were gonna buy it because she's Kylie Jenner. I salute her for her. She made her money off of her platform.
Yeah. Yep.
And some people gotta work harder, some people don't.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your skills and talents.
I've played sports, a lot of sports all my life. I do photography. I do a little bit of video editing.
Okay. She works for me. So, and I utilize her in a lot of ways. She's very modest, but she's done videography work. I've had some peer Stay From agents that she's done some promo videos for. She's done promo videos for me and my nonprofit foundation. And whatever. She's kind of my girl Friday. Whatever I needed to do, she figures it out. And she's fun. And she makes a few bucks off of it. I remember the first time that she did a promo video. Literally, I think she was about 14 years old, and it literally was just her playing around on her computer. She put something out, and my agent friend gave her $100 for doing it. She was like, "What? I can do that again." So, but it is, again, using your platform. I think she's learning how to utilize opportunities. But I think the key that I see in the Jenner story is exactly that. Like, are we tapping in to all of the resources and the platforms around us and trying to impart our skills, our knowledge? I think we can be a little bit better at that. It may not make us billionaires, but who knows? Because there are people out there that don't have that name that we don't even know about. I have a whole book called Kid Millionaires. So there are young people who have been doing this for a minute. And when I think about self-made people in the cosmetic industry, the person who comes to mind is Carol's Daughters, the person who made Carol's Daughters cosmetics and hair products. And so I saw, read that story about her making products in her kitchen in Brooklyn, and how she was able to get an actress to use her products. And I remember when Teryn was a baby, they first came out, and I started using her hair products on Teryn's names. And now she built it, took it as far as she could, and she ended up selling it to L'Oreal, which is one of the biggest cosmetic industries in the country. And she stayed plugged in, so she didn't just sell it and walk away from it. She's still a part of the company, and keeping the brand pure. So I'm just saying, there are lessons to be learned. I see their quote too on the self-made part, but definitely some lessons to be learned, and how we can make more money. Doesn't have to be $1 billion. I don't know if it has to be $1 million. It can be a couple 100,000, right? And we all will probably be better off, So I think there are lessons there. So let's not sleep on those lessons. So that said, that'll take us right into our topic, which is about multiple streams of income. So let's talk a little bit about what does this new model of income look like for you? Tadean, I'm gonna let you get started.
Yeah, so again, for me, it looks like multiple streams. When I think of income, and I'm trying to think as far back as I remember that, I don't think I've ever in my life thought about just having one thing. Like, that's never been me. Even when I thought about education, even when I thought about becoming a principal or anything like that, I've always thought about having more than one thing going. But I'm also the kid of entrepreneurs, right? So I think that brings a different perspective. And I'm also the kid who was selling stuff in school, like the candy, loading iPods with music, like all of that. I was doing all of that in high school, middle school. So I've always thought about how can I make income for myself. So as an adult now, that wants knowing price tags of things, and also being real and having bills. I'm always like, how can I diversify my income that works for me in different ways? Not just be able to pay bills, but to do the things I want on top of that as well. So I think a lot of, and I don't want to speak for all young people, but I think sometimes, I don't know if we're as patient as older generations to just like play the game of waiting 5 years, 10 years in the job to get that desired salary just from one job. It's like, I got to play the game. You know what I mean? I got to put in my time. That's part of it. But what can I do alongside that to still get the money that I want today? And that's kind of the track that I've been taking. So I know within my 9 to 5, it's not realistic to think as a young professional, first job out, not within government, to make 6 figures, maybe tech or something else. That's unrealistic for me to even go into that with that idea. It's unrealistic to think I can be a first-year teacher making $75,000, right? It's just an unrealistic hope. So being real with yourself has also made me think about, okay, being real about that, but I also know the amount of money I want. So what do I need to do to make that happen? And that's where the multiple streams came in for me. And as my goals change, as my desires change, wanting to buy a house now, all these different things, I know it takes more money to be able to do that. So new model of income for me looks like diversifying where money comes from and trying to make each one work a little bit better each year so that the amount at the end of the day is where I want it to be.
Sounds like you got a plan and a strategy.
We're working it.
What does that income model look like for you?
I would say when I think about passive income, I think about money I can make doing nothing. Like in my sleep, money I can make doing similar to Tadean, but not similar. When I was in high school, and even when I went away to college, I always thought of, because my parents were the type of parents to like find a job, one job, stick to it. If you're gonna do photography, you gotta really do it. You gotta stick to it. And you gotta make the money. You gotta blah blah blah. Or I just feel as though my parents were very much like you mentioned on Dawn about finding that one job and putting in that time and and just writing that out. I didn't realize until I want to say my first or second year of college that there was such thing as multiple streams of income. I just figured I had to do one thing and then that was it. And how was I ever going to do photography as that in New York City where everyone has a camera, everyone has a camera phone, everyone wants to take pictures. How was I going to make the money I wanted to make with photography? And yeah, so I didn't really realize until maybe like my first year of college, like I'm gonna need more money than just photography. I'm gonna need something else. And even though also I would express this to my parents about how, I have this interest in this, I have that interest in this, and I have this. And they're just like, you have to focus on one thing. So like you can't do all of those things, multiple streams. You have to stick to one. So kind of lost the question. But
it's really just about how does that income model look for you in terms of, and it sounds to me like you're talking about exploring all of your interests. Like you don't want to just settle on one skill set and rely, because I think Tadean mentioned he knew that even if he pursued teaching may have been a passion of his, but it wasn't going to get him the income. As opposed to with me, when I told my teacher that I like math and I wanted to be a math teacher just like her, she was like, no, you don't want to do that because there's no money in it. And she was totally gearing me somewhere else, not thinking about, okay, if that's your passion, that's something that you love, do that plus do some other things with your skills. So I think that's the key here is that you're pursuing your passions. You don't want to give up on the things that you love to do, but you want to look at how you can still have the lifestyle and the total amount of income that you want doing other things. If I'm hearing y'all correctly.
Yep.
What about you? What does that look like for you on your journey?
For me, multiple streams of income looks like having a primary stream of income and then having side incomes until those side incomes surpass or support you more than your primary income. If your primary income is not your passion, you see what I'm saying? Similar to what Tadean was saying with he was children of entrepreneurs. I think of myself or of us as children of a hustler, specifically my father. He was always hustling. Doing this, he had this business, that business. He had multiple businesses in multiple businesses and multiple jobs, like businesses that he started and jobs that he worked at the same time. And while that's what he did, to Nigeria's point, he was very much do as I say, not as I do. So I want better for you. I want you to find a job, stick to it, a good paying job, passion, kind of put that on the back burner. And so for me, multiple streams of income right now looks like having a job that pays the bills and has benefits, which is what I have, and then looking outward to find my hustles and find my side incomes that A, gives me more income, and B, fulfill my passions, until those side incomes start to support my lifestyle just as much or better than my primary stream of income. And then even so, I don't see myself ever going into one stream of income, because you have to have multiple streams of income. Because if my job decided to lay me off, I can't. I need to be able to be getting money from other places, particularly money, like Nigeria said, that happens while I sleep. That's coming in no matter what. So that's what the income, new model of income looks like for me.
Okay. So now we're going to hear from Teryn as she's embarking on deciding what her career path looks like. What are your thoughts based on everything you heard?
So I think to everybody's point, you should have one thing that is gonna pay the bills, get your main stream of income. I don't think that necessarily has to be your passion, because I feel like a lot of people's passion is, what people are telling them, you're not gonna make that money. So I feel like the side hustle is your passions. And then I think a lot of people don't think you're gonna make money not doing anything. Because I'm on TikTok. You see all these people, they have vending machines, car washes, they're making so much money by refilling candy bars and soap.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're doing nothing. And then they still have their primary job that's, their benefits, that's gonna pay their bills. There's a lot of high schoolers, they do nails, hair, making $200 a head or a set. So I don't, people, the older generation feels like you have to have a 9-to-5 to be successful. And you can be successful not sticking to one thing. You can, if you're making money, you're successful. If you're surviving or if you're living and you are comfortable with your living situation, then successful.
Okay. So if I had to summarize, what I even feel like I'm hearing is that a lot of times, our generation, our parents were doing that also. They were hustling. They had multiple jobs, but I think in their minds, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's what I was explaining about. They don't think you can make money sitting down.
Right.
You can. That's why they want. As what y'all were saying, your parents want you to stick with one job because he's working multiple. That's a lot of work to him. He doesn't want y'all to have to do all that work. But there's ways that you can make money without overworking.
Right. So you just found new ways to do what we were doing, and I think to the point of we always want better for our children, right? We think that way was find a big paying job, but as we all know that people whose parents work for IBM, they typically found themselves out of work, laid off, and not knowing what to do, and they saw the whole rug pulled out from under them. So I think that's the piece that young people probably want to do a little differently. Like if they, find that 9-to-5 or find that good paying job that's paying a lot of money, that if that were to go away, that they can still maintain their lifestyle. So let's talk about that a little bit. Lifestyle.
I want to say also the freedom of feeling like you don't have to stay somewhere that you don't want to.
Right.
That, like you're making this side money. You feel like somebody your boss is treating you bad, or you don't like your environment. You have the freedom to leave. You have the freedom to do something else, or because you're still going to be making money in the background. Whether you may have to cut your lifestyle down for a little bit to make the money to find another job with that, for your primary income, but you have the freedom to not stay there, not just being laid off. So I need to find something else to do, but you have the freedom to leave.
Yeah. And what also, and we talked about this before on what taught me that the most has been this pandemic. I work in a school. Schools were closed. I was on unemployment. There was no jobs. I could not. So if I had multiple streams of income set up, I wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, maybe I would probably still have to worry because, everyone was falling on hard times, but I still, it wouldn't have been so much. I would have had another plan. So,
Gotcha.
And I feel like everyone has seen that, felt that.
Right. Because you could take that side gig to another level.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer have that 9-to-5. So I'm liking what I'm hearing. And I think when parents hear this conversation, it'll kind of make them think about it a little bit differently. So the other piece that you all brought up was lifestyle. I think in our generation, of course, it was very linear, right? You graduate from college, you get married, you buy a house, you have children, you have your cars. There were these steps that we followed. I don't know, is lifestyles for you all that linear? And can you scale up, scale down based on your different streams of income? What are your thoughts about that? Tadean, you want to jump in there?
Yeah. So I think it's more broad than me probably having one concrete answer to give. But I think Teryn hit on the perfect answer for me, or definition for me, is freedom. My ideal lifestyle looks like liberation. It looks like freedom. It looks like only doing what I love to do when I want to do it with the people I love to do it with. Doing what I love to do when I want to do it with the people I love to do it with. That's the ideal lifestyle for me. Whether that's work-related things, whether that's travel, whatever. Like I just want to be able to have the freedom and flexibility and the resources, i.e. capital, money, whatever that needs to look like, ability to take off, you know what I mean? All these different things to be able to live my best life. However, I define that in different seasons of my life. Right now, for me, lifestyle looks like to the point traveling, having enough discretionary income where I can travel once a month, whether that's international or domestic. It looks like having enough money to continue to max out my investments, you know, through my retirement accounts, through stocks, whatever that needs to be. It looks like having the desired living accommodations that I'm looking for, whether that's a condo downtown in the city with floor to ceiling windows, big 2-story, 3, whatever house. I think it's all of that. And then still being able to give back to my community. So ideal lifestyle looks like enough capital in terms of social capital, financial capital, all of that. Travel as I want, live as I want, and give back as much as I want as well.
Okay. Young people, linear lifestyle for you, or you have a different mindset about your lifestyle?
Well, I already surpassed the linear part. According to statistics, I should have been married and had kids by now. So there's no point in I'm past the linear. But basically, yeah, freedom to do as I want when I want to do it, without talking to anyone about it. Just doing as I want. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for me, the only thing I would add to what Tadean and Nigeria have said would be enough income to take care of my parents.
Yeah.
To set my parents up and then live my life the way I want to live it.
Yeah.
Without having to talk to nobody about it. That's it.
Okay. Anything you want to add that we haven't covered about lifestyle?
Yeah, I think you know, I feel like this generation isn't big on like marriage. Like that's not, you know, everybody's goal. Like I feel like that was y'all's goal. Well, not everybody, but like y'all's generation. I feel like Tadean said, we want to travel, we want to live, we want to be with the people we love, and we don't feel like you need certain things to
make you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to end with 2 questions. One that I want to kind of ask on behalf of the younger generation, or you know, who's the older in the audience. And I guess I will probably have to speak on behalf of the older generation, and then ask for my watchers to chime in and post comments and give us feedback. But I would love to hear about like what advice would we give to young people as they are embracing different income models and different lifestyle choices. I would say that hats off to you, definitely on the freedom piece. I know that number one, I wasn't one. I know a lot of my friends were about getting married and having kids, and that wasn't on my radar either. But I was concerned about my parents and wanting to be able to help them out if they needed help with something that was on my mind. But my parents had me when they were 40. So I felt like I wanted to be successful in their eyes, because I was always afraid of them passing before they knew in their hearts that I was okay in their mind. So I was like, I was rushing to, let me graduate from college, let me get this good paying job, and they see that I can financially take care of myself and have good benefits. Like I felt like I was trying to make sure that they knew that I was going to be okay. So at any point, if I, lost them, that I was checking these boxes, right? And but I feel like that pressure might be off of you, and I want to take that pressure off of you. That don't be in a rush. I think you all have expressed the freedom, the flexibility. Like there's a balance there. I mean, you all will know what your obligations and priorities are, but feeling like you can do them simultaneously, like you don't have to put your life on hold to check these boxes to prove anything to anyone. So that's one of my suggestions. The other is understanding that, benefits are important, but you can create your own benefits package for yourself. You don't have to rely on a company to do that for you. So just the segment 2 will be about talking about those benefits and those resources for creating those benefits. So that's the piece that I would just caution young people to keep in mind simultaneously as you're living your best life, to think about the future and put some things in place early on that takes care of the future. So with that, I'm going to ask younger people what.
Ms. Dawn,
Yes, yes.
I have a question on that point though. When you were saying you were working hard to kind of like do this, check these boxes to prove or let your parents know that you were good. How were you defining good?
So I
Like
knew,
having a stable job, or what did that mean?
because I knew that my parents, they struggled. They were able to accomplish a lot that impressed me based on the meager income that they had. And I think during the time that I was growing up, understand that I grew up in, I was born in 1960, so I grew up in the 70s and was coming of age in the 80s and 90s. Crack was out. The it was off the charts in terms of young people having children at a young age, and there were a lot of statistics out there that were concerning for parents. And so I just felt like, especially being a child in New York, I felt like I needed to make sure that my parents knew that I wasn't going to be a statistic. So that okay was really around the statistics that were plaguing the news. And we got to be careful about that too, right? Because we're being fed a dialogue through media about, what our culture and our generations are achieving or not achieving. And now I think what's happening with social media is we have other sources of information, so that we don't just rely on what one stream of news puts out there about us as a people. So I think that gives you a sense of freedom as well, that you don't have these statistics that you have to try to defy. And I think that's what being good was meant to me, Tadean. Like, I was trying to prove to them that I was going to be able to take care of myself. I knew that was the number one concern of my mother, is that I could take care of myself and would not be dependent on any other person or any government agency, that I could take care of myself. And that was the thing that I was trying to prove. So yeah, thank you for helping me clarify that. So I'm going to ask all of you, if you were asking as you were pursuing this, you seem to be very confident in your approach, your reasoning, and you're off and running, and you're doing life the way that you want to do it. So I want to ask you all, are there questions, concerns that you might have that you want to ask of the older generation after we've embraced and accepted that this is your path and your journey and how you're going to live your life? What is it that you would ask of us to help you on this journey?
I don't know. How would you know what to pursue and what not to pursue? Like, you had multiple, I'm sure you had like hundreds of ideas, but which idea you was like, okay, maybe I should look into that a little bit more. Like, okay, well, maybe that's not a good idea. I should back away from that. Because what I'm struggling with is I have lots of ideas on how to have multiple streams of income, but my fear is with the little resources right now that I have to put it all into this one thing to try to gain income, and then it fails.
Right.
So how would you decipher which one to go with and which one not to?
Right. So I do think that I'm all about categorizing, and I'm all about the numbers, right? So if I were in your position, I would probably break my life into quadrants. I feel like if you have a square, you can have four things kind of running at the same time. So you all alluded to having that one quadrant, which is maybe the thing, whether it's your passion or not, that you can rely on, that's your greatest stream of income, that's going to at least cover the bills. Like, it may not get you your extras, it may not be able to, buy you clothes and the extras in life, but at least that stream of income that's going to take care of the basics. Like, I have a roof over my head, and I pay my utilities and buy some food. Those are the basics, right? When I do my budgeting with my clients, a lot of time they want to throw other stuff in that basics category. I would say a cell phone is basic, but basic cell phone is necessarily, not the $200 plan, more like the $50 plan, right? So you have that number that you know that are your absolute, that's your bottom line, what it means, what survival means for you. And you need to have a reliable income source that's taking care of that box. So then I would say your second box would be, I would even put like second, third, fourth boxes would be, what are my passions? And I would label them based on my greatest passion. Like if I could wake up and do this for free, I would do it, but I want to get paid for it. I would make that my second box. And then I would see how much income can I generate from that thing. And then I would have passions 3 and 4 be things that you also would make you happy. It may not be that thing that makes you jump out of bed, but it will keep you happy. It will keep you showing up. And I would keep track of how much income I can make out of those things. So then when you're looking at boxes 2, 3, and 4, keeping track of that income and keeping track of the time spent. So how much time are you spending on that thing and how much income is it generating for you? And I would do that for every, idea. And I would have my ideas listed in order of, I would give it a score. How great is it on my passion list and how much time does it take? So, and I also, you also talked about making money while you sleep. I think that something you should all put in motion is investing, because that's truly making money while you sleep. I think you need to take some time, learn how to invest, learn how to buy stocks and mutual funds so that can be a wheel that's spinning. And you will have to spend some time on it in terms of educating yourself about it, but it's going to operate and generate income literally while you sleep. So I think I will put that in one of my boxes as well. So I think keeping track of money and time, and give yourself a year and look back at those boxes. What's giving you the most money with the least amount of time? And then make some informed decisions as to, is this that fulfilling to me, that even though it's like making me the least amount of money and taking up most of my time, do I still want to keep it on the list? Is there something or a way that I can do this differently that can reduce my time and increase my income? Can I partner with someone? And when I partner with someone, could it increase the income to the point that even if we had to split it, that it still cuts my time down, but I can still pursue it as a passion? So just giving yourself criteria for everything that you're doing, and it's really always going to boil down to passion, money, and time. So that's how I would approach my ideas.
Okay.
I hope it makes sense.
It does. It does.
I love that answer. And I think many adults wouldn't give that answer. You know what I mean? Because essentially what you're saying is, how bad do you want to try it? Because if that's the case, how do you set up these things to make it safe to try? And I think that's so much more important than giving people all these reasons why they shouldn't go for it. So I think that's a beautiful answer that you give us, and it's something I try to apply. Because same thing, like Nijera, I do not lack in ideas. I have 10 million business ideas in my head. And I'm always thinking, based on resources, what I have access to right now, what in my time, what makes the most sense to start. So I'm always thinking, what is the next one that's really tugging at my spirit that I want to jump into? How can I scale that out? You know what I mean? I may want to create films. I can't do a whole 2-hour movie today. Can I start with a commercial? You know what I mean? So as you tap into those things, you'll, through the process of elimination, start to understand, I'm loving this more and more and more. And you'll start to find ways to feed it because you already have an appetite for it now. So that's just something I've been applying as a young professional, I think, with limited time, with limited resources, and limited access. So I definitely just echo what you just said, Mrs. John. I think that was great.
To say something else, you also have like people like Steve Harvey, or mostly I've heard Steve Harvey when he does his inspirational talks and stuff. He's like, he quits his whole job and just jumps right in. You have to jump right in. It's just like, I don't know if I can jump right in.
Yeah,
this is a lot.
Yeah, to that I think also, like, start, but don't bite off as much, like more than you can chew. Like you don't have to just jump in everything you got. That's the whole point of multiple streams of income, is not quitting your job and jumping into stuff. It's having it on the side and starting it up, building it up. And then once it's, like Nia said, surpasses your primary, that's when you can, put that to the side and jump in. And like Nijera was saying, you don't want to put your all into something and then fail. You don't have to put your all into it. You can put some into it, break it off, put it to the side and build it up. And it's like, I don't know whose quote this is, but it was like, what if I fail? And it's, what if you don't? So it's like, you can't be scared because you're not always gonna fail. So
Scared money don't make money.
And just to that point, something that literally just 2 days ago, I was sitting here thinking about, I really want to, I have always tried to get into acting, and it's like, I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. And if I could just get a little religious for a second, literally like 2 days ago, the Bible verse that I opened my app that came up was, God did not give us a spirit of fear. So, and then everything that I was seeing past then up until till today was coming up like, stop being afraid. Sometimes to scare money don't make money. So you got to move into, like Teryn said, don't put all of it, but you got to start. You got to start something. And you're never, if you are someone who believes in God, that's just an extra incentive to get moving, to push yourself, because your fear is the only thing that's stopping you from trying this thing. And that's for a believer or not believer. The only thing that's standing in between you and trying something is fear. You and succeeding, that's a different thing, but you have to at least try it.
Right.
That's so good. That's so good. So I'm an interview junkie. I love interviews, and I was open, and we're only moving in two directions, either more towards fear or either more towards love. And even exactly what you're talking, even with our passions and desires, do you love yourself enough, or the future version of yourself enough to at least try? Are you moving more towards that love or more towards that fear? You know what I mean? And even with that, even if you want to be an actress, you want to get out there, try audition. Right. If it's a no, guess what? That doesn't put you back any further. You know what I mean? Exactly. But one yes can change everything.
Right.
One yes can change everything. So I just got happy when you started talking about that.
And comfortability as well. If you get stuck in your comfortable zone, you can't. I think that's what was stopped me. I was like, okay, I'm comfortable right here. This is fine. And then it's like, this is getting uncomfortable. You have to try to something different. So
yeah.
Right.
Love that.
Too young to be getting comfortable. So I ask you all to raise your wine glasses. This is rose-colored glasses time, right? So thank you for this awe-inspiring conversation. First of all, at 52 years old, and you are literally being half my age, I am so proud of you. I am so very proud of you. So everyone here, I try to be a resource to everyone that I come in contact with. I want you to live your best life. I actually have no regrets in terms of everything that I've tried. One thing that I would do differently is I would invest more money more quickly and earlier in age than I did in the past. We'll do a whole segment on that. So I'm just all about, nothing beats, investing if you got to learn how to do it right and, learn some basics, but that would be the only thing I would do differently. So I'm saying cheers to you and your smart choices. And I just want to do a little round and let you all close out with any final comments. I will say something that my mama always said. Y'all know I'm always going to give a mama said. That nothing beats failing but trying. And that's something she's told me my entire life. So it sums up really what all of you just shared. So cheers to you, and let's work around. Tadean, do you have a cheer?
Yeah, my cheers is to living out our wildest dreams and our fullest potential. That's my cheers.
Thanks to that.
Yeah.
You can still give us a wish.
Oh, it's my turn.
We'll come back to Teryn. Nigel, something that you want to send us off with based on what you learned here today?
Yeah, I'll send this off with I was an English major, but a poem by Shel Silverstein. It was really short. It's called Listen to the Mustn'ts. And it goes, listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be.
Just it would be not to be comfortable, to try it, and hopefully and prayerfully you can succeed.
Wonderful. From our youngest, you got anything you want to share? You got a mama saying?
We're going to hang like one.
So their grandmother, my mother, always said, hang like a monkey. If your hands get tired, you gotta hang by your feet. If your feet get tired, don't forget you have a tail. It took years to figure out what that really meant, but I deciphered it to mean that tail is something deep inside of you that drives you to do what you do. It drives you to take that leap. Don't forget to hang on to that in tough times. Thank you for this first episode of Dawn Dishes and Wines. I hope you all, when y'all come to town, Nijera and Nia will take you to Flipside. Teryn and Tadean already have favorite meals there. So we're closing out Dawn Dishes and Wines. And thank you for sharing yourself, your love, and sharing what's in your glass with the rest of the world. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Living your best life. Cheers.
Cheers.